Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to teach you how to use a step-by-step process to manifest anything that you want in your life. Let's dive in. Just to be honest with you, I feel like even talking about this has become kind of cringe, and because I feel like everyone and their fucking mom is talking about this. But the reason why I want to talk about it is because I want to talk about it just the way that I see it and the way that I view it. And I feel like it's become like a corny thing to talk about, like, oh, I manifest. Look at me, I'm manifesting. Oh my God, I'm so magical, I'm manifesting. So we're gonna talk about the law of attraction, all of that stuff. Guys, I promise you, I think that they're great, but you don't need any crystals. And I don't think you need to pray to any moon gods or sun gods or whatever people do nowadays. I'm just gonna talk about how to get what you want in your life. And we're going to use it through the eyes of looking at manifesting. And so Laura and I were talking the other day, and we were just talking about how the way that I never used to be confident when I was younger. And now I get to the point where I'm just like, I get what I want. And I just say that out loud to her. And the reason why I get what I want is because the opposite of what I want doesn't exist in my reality. And that's just the way that I've learned to live my life. And so, I first discovered the law of attraction, manifestation, all that stuff in 2008 when I watched The Secret, the movie when it first came out. And really what it came down to is I started thinking about it. It's like, there's all these people talking about like, well, you have to do this and you have to do that thing. If you want like the simplest form of manifesting in the law of attraction is don't believe that what you don't want even exists in your reality. Like too many people focus on what they don't want. That just shouldn't even exist in your reality. It shouldn't exist in your head. And so I want you to think about this. When you are thinking about your life, about what you want to do, about what you want to create, are you thinking and focusing on what you want, or are you focusing on what you don't want? So when you look at like the law of attraction, it's a universal principle that says that you can basically attract into your life whatever you focus on, whatever you believe in, whatever you deeply feel about. And it's based on the idea that everything in this universe is based in energy. So the chair that I'm sitting in is made of energy. The camera that I'm recording this on, if you're watching on YouTube, is made of energy. The microphone that I'm speaking into, the phone that you might be listening to this on, all of those are made of energy. Do you know what else is made of energy? You are a vibratory being. If you zoomed into your hand on a microscopic level, you would see it is literally just energy. It's just atoms moving around, and majority of it isn't even atoms. It's just empty space, which is just energy. But here's the important thing about this that I want you to understand is you are made of energy, but your emotions are made of energy. Your feelings are made of energy. Your thoughts are also made of energy, so it's interacting with the physical world as well. The problem is we just don't see them with our eyes, and so we just a lot of times don't think that they interact with or matter. And so the more that you think about something, or the more that you feel something, is the more energy that you are putting into that thing in the universe. And like attracts like, so when you emit a certain energy, like say you emit a positive energy, you will attract positive energies, positive people, positive opportunities. If you're emitting negative energy, which is I don't want this, why am I so stupid, why do I always screw this up? Well, that negative energy is going to attract negative experiences, negative people, negative opportunities. And this is why it is so important for you to stop thinking about what you don't want and to spend more time focusing and being very diligent on paying attention and looking for the things that you do want. Put as much energy into it as you can. The problem is so many people, and I've done this and I did this for years, waste so much of their energy throughout the day focusing on what they don't want or trying to avoid the things that they don't want. And it's so much energy wasted throughout the day. And then they keep saying to themselves, oh my God, I can't believe that I continue to have these negative experiences. Oh my God, I can't believe that I continue to attract these shitty people into my life. Oh my God, I can't believe that I date the same type of person every single time. It's because you won't stop focusing on what it is that you don't want. And whatever you focus on, you will get. The key here is to align your conscious, your subconscious mind, and your body all to be on the exact same page, because your conscious mind can be like, oh my God, I want to be rich and I want to make money. But your subconscious mind is still stuck in, I hope I can pay the bills. And so what you do is you focus on the thing that you actually want. You get your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your body to all be aligned for one actual purpose. Your conscious mind is the rational, analytical part of your mind that thinks, reasons, and decides on things. Your subconscious mind is the emotional, intuitive part of your mind that stores all of your beliefs, your memories, your habits, and runs 95% of your daily life. So if you want to manifest something, if you want to create something in your life, you must have to first believe it's possible. And not only that it's just like possible, but I mean like you have to know with all 40 trillion of your cells that it will happen. And give no room, no energy, no thoughts, no feelings towards what if it doesn't happen. Hey, real quick, I want to introduce you to something called Mindset Mentor Plus. If you love this podcast, you will absolutely love what I'm about to talk about. I designed Mindset Mentor Plus to help you actively integrate every one of these episodes into your life. And here's how it works. With every episode of this podcast that comes out, Mindset Mentor Plus subscribers get more. You're going to get multiple page, detailed, printable worksheets, effectively a mini masterclass that's way more in depth than just this podcast. They also come with journaling questions, challenges, assignments, and so much more, so that you're not just listening to these podcasts passively, but you're actively integrating them into your life. That way you improve much faster. I also do monthly Q&A sessions in there and much, much more. If you want to learn more about it, go to mindsetmentor.com or click the link that's down in the description. And then what you want to do is you want to try to impress that belief into your subconscious through repetition, saying it over and over and over again and focusing on it over and over and over again and visualizing what it is and what it would feel like to accomplish it and what would it be like to have this thing, and use affirmations and use the words that you have and the visualization that you have and the energy that you have, and you try to get your entire being to know with all 40 trillion cells, there is no other reality that exists except for the thing that I want. That way, your subconscious will start to guide your thoughts, guide your feelings, and guide your actions towards that goal. A few episodes ago, I talked about the reticular activating system, which is the thing that filters out almost every bit of information. So, the statistic that I actually was able to find through a lot of research was 11 million bits of information come into your brain at 1 second, but your brain can only fully process 50 to 120 bits of information out of that 11 million. So when you think about that, it's like the red car theory. If I passed a lot of red cars on the way to the office today, I didn't see any of them. I can't recall any of them. But if I left my house and said, I'm going to focus on every red car, I'm going to count every red car, I would have seen them. And so if you're saying to yourself, I am going to get X, Y, Z, then your reticular activating system is going to start to take the wheel and say, okay, well, I'm going to bring you the people, places, opportunities, things that will get you closer to X, Y, Z. And if you do this correctly, you'll start to attract the right people. You'll start to notice the right situations. You'll start to get resources that come into your life and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even think that this was possible. Like I said, I've been using the law of attraction and manifestation, like really focusing. And, at first it was like, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to believe that I'm going to get this thing and I'm going to act like the universe is giving it to me. You can do that if you want, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But the thing that I found that just makes it really easy is just focus on what it is that you want and tell yourself that the opposite of what it is that you want doesn't exist. Nothing outside of that exists in any reality. And so the first time I tried, quote unquote, the law of attraction, I was like, all right, I go to the University of South Florida. There's always parking problems. I can never get a parking spot. So I'm going to drive to school and I'm going to tell myself the whole 20-minute drive, I'm going to get a parking spot up front. I'm going to get a parking spot up front. I'm going to get a parking spot up front. And I kind of start to believe it. I'm like, this would be nice. That would be cool. And then I pull in and somebody's pulling out of the very front as I'm pulling in. And I'm like, no way. That's just a coincidence. There's no way. I never get parking at USF. I mean, maybe. I was kind of like, what the hell? This doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I was still extremely skeptical about it. I was like, it's probably just a coincidence. And the next day I did the exact same thing and it worked. And I was like, this is bullshit. Isn't it? This can't be real. And so I was like, I don't know if it was real. I don't know if it wasn't real, but it was probably the universe just being like, hey, start to play with me a little bit. But let's do a dance together. And then I started thinking to myself, like, this actually might be real. Like, I actually might be changing the world around me through my thoughts and through my beliefs. And another way that's my favorite example, and I've given this on the podcast before, But in 2012, I quit a job to go backpack in Europe for 3 months by myself. And then after that, I moved from Tampa, Florida to Austin, Texas. And I had a conversation with my mom. She's like, hey, how's everything been? I'd already been here for like 3 months. She's like, how's Austin? Everything's great, all this stuff. She's like, did you find a job yet? And I was like, no. She's like, well, how much money do you have left? And I was like, I've got like probably 2 months of money left before, I have to figure something out really. And she's like, okay, are you getting nervous? Like, are you worried? And I was like, no. And she goes, you're not worried? And I go, no, because if I'm worried about something, I'm actually putting that out into the universe and I'm not going to get what it is that I want. I know that I'm meant to be here and I know that I'm going to be able to provide. She's like, okay. She probably want to be like, okay, hippie, right? I was like, I know it's going to work out and I don't put any energy into what it is that I don't want. And this is a true story. If this didn't happen in my life, I wouldn't believe it. The next day, 5 days later, 7 days later, whatever it was within like 2 weeks, the HR lady at the company that I used to work for that I had quit about a year ago at this point in time, because we're talking like this probably February or March of 2023, and I had quit in May of 2012. She calls me up. She's like, hey, Rob, how's everything going? I was like, I'm doing good. She goes, hey, are you driving right now? And I go, yeah. And she goes, will you go ahead and pull over real quick? I got something to tell you. And I was like, okay, cool. And she's like, hey, I just want to let you know that our accounting system made a mistake last year in figuring out how much money you were supposed to be paid out. And it made a mistake, and we actually owe you some money. And I was like, you owe me money? I was like, that's kind of cool. How much do you owe me? She's like, it's around like $23,000. I was like, I'm sorry, what? She's like, yeah, so I just needed to make sure that your bank account is the same that it was last year. I'll just go ahead and wire the money over to you today. I was like, yep, it's the same. Wired $23,000 over to me. And so like, sure, maybe that's a coincidence, but I choose not to think of it as a coincidence. I choose to think of it as I don't focus on what it is that I want, which would be, what if my money runs out? What if I have to move back home to Florida? What if I end up, having to go and get a job that I hate? I was like, no, I'm going to get this thing. And my mom's always said it to me, right? My mom's always said, she's like, my mom has this phrase that she jokes me. She's like, you always get what you want. And I'm like, I just kind of feel like I'm just dancing with the universe a little bit. Like, I feel like I'm starting to understand it. And I've been doing this for a long time. I feel like I'm starting to understand it. And it used to be like, okay, how can I read books about manifestation and watch movies about manifestation? What I've really boiled it down to is like, I just don't believe that anything that I don't want is worth me focusing on or putting any energy into. I just don't believe on it. I just don't believe to do that in the first place. Like, what I want, I will get, is the way that I think about it. And that's what I want you to start thinking about in your own life. And you don't just, the thing that I want you to understand too, when you start thinking about manifestation, is manifesting and like being somebody who quote unquote manifests, I think could be really a lazy idea too, because people think like, oh, I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to tune my energy to get the universe to give me what I want. That seems kind of lazy, if you ask me. I like to think of the law of attraction as like step 1 is a law of attraction. Step 2 is the law of action. Like the last 6 letters of attraction is action. Like, don't just sit there and go, I hope I get it. And I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to get this thing that I want. I'm going to visualize it. No, you've got to like work your ass off for it. And this has to be your mindset. You have to have the mindset of, I'm going to get what I want. Winners win, and I'm a winner. And the opposite of what I want literally does not exist in my reality. And you have to understand that we're all creators. We are creating our reality at every single second. If you knew at a deep level how powerful of a creator that you are, you would change your mindset immediately. If you focus on what it is that you don't want, you will create more of what you don't want. Your reticular activating system will not see anything other than that which you don't want. It won't. It's only going to find all of the places where what you don't want exists. But if you focus on what you do want and you believe with every single cell, and you brainwash your mind, your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, your body, it will become true. It might not happen in the time that you want it to, but it will eventually happen. And the way I like to think about it is, I remember, and I've given this example so many times in the podcast over the past 9 years or so, but I remember I was going for a go-kart. My friends rented out for his birthday his go-karts, and they went like 50 miles an hour. And the guy who was running it and telling us all about it was all cool and all funny. And then he got super serious. And he's like, somebody's going to crash. It's just going to happen. It happens every single race. If somebody crashes, do not look at the crash. Because if you look at your friend in the crash, you will crash into them and you will run directly into where you're looking. He goes, you want to look at where you want to go. Don't look at the crash because you could kill your friend. He was like really serious about this. And I was like, oh my God, that's like the perfect example of life. You know, he says, don't look at the crash because you're going to go where you're looking. He said, look at where you want to go instead. Look around your friend. Look past your friend because that's where you're going to drive to. And so you've got to start to think about that. You've got to start to think about how can I focus on what it is that I want and just think that the opposite of what I want doesn't exist in this reality. You know, if you're like a coach or you're a salesperson, right? And don't say like, I hope this person doesn't say no to me, because then you're focusing on the no. They will probably say no if that's the case. Think about that energy. I hope they don't say no to me. You know, I hope they don't say no to me. Oh, I hope they don't break my heart. I hope I don't get fired. Everything is energy. That right there is just bringing in what you don't want into your reality. But everything is energy. And you can sense when your energy is off. Like, you know, if you're being quiet, you can feel it inside of your body when your energy is off. Like, for instance, have you ever met somebody and you have a really bad feeling about that person, but you just kind of brush your feelings off to the side, and then 6 months or a year down the road, you're like, oh, I knew it. I knew that this person was going to be this way. It's just because you're not paying attention to your energy. And so it's really important for us to start thinking about the energy and the way that our bodies, everything, our bodies, our minds interact with the world. The problem is that most people focus on what they don't want, and then they can't figure out why they keep getting what they don't want. What you have to do is you have to brainwash yourself. You're the one brainwashing has a bad connotation, but if you're being brainwashed by somebody else, it's a bad thing. If you're brainwashing yourself to what you want to be, I would say it's a pretty good thing to create the life that you want. I think that's a good brainwashing for you to brainwash yourself. I don't want to brainwash you. I don't want anybody else to brainwash you. I want you to brainwash yourself for the life that you want to create, for the person that you want to be. And so how can you sit there and start to think about, okay, maybe this guy is right. Maybe this does work. Maybe I should just try it out and see how it works for me. I'm going to try to get my mind, my conscious mind, my subconscious mind, my body on the exact same page, all 40 trillion of my cells, decide what it is that I want in life, visualize it, create affirmations around it, journal around it, and then try to align every bit of my purpose to go and get the thing that I want. It takes time to get used to. It takes time to start to realize that you can go out and get these things. But as soon as you get that first thing where you're like, oh, wait, this actually might be real. It's like a little bit of a breadcrumb being like, hey, buddy, you're doing the right thing. Keep on coming this way. And so try it out. Try to manifest the life that you want by getting your mind and your body on the exact same page to go out and get what it is that you want. And that is the way I think that you should manifest and try out the law of attraction. So that's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, please share it on your Instagram stories. Tag me at Rob Dial Jr., ROBDIALJR. The only way this podcast grows is from you guys sharing it, so I greatly appreciate it. Every single one of you that shares this to other people so that we can grow, so that we can impact more people's lives. And with that, I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission to make someone else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.